wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished checking the last waste container behind the new Singapore spaceport. The afternoon sun was hot, and his work uniform stuck to his back. He had been working as a waste management engineer for 3 years now, and most days were the same. Clean up trash, check the systems, go home. But today felt different. As walked toward the industrial waste area, he heard a soft scratching sound. At first, he thought it might be rats. The spaceport had problems with them sometimes, but the sound was different. It was more careful, more gentle. Followed the noise to a large metal container filled with broken machine parts and old food containers. The scratching sound came from inside. He grabbed his flashlight and looked into the dark container. 2 large eyes stared back at him. Stepped back quickly. His heart raced. The eyes were not human or animal. They were bigger than a cat's eyes, and they seemed to glow softly in the dark. The creature made a small chirping sound like a baby bird. "What are you?" whispered. The creature tried to move but fell back down. Could see it was very thin. Its skin looked like it had small mirrors on it that caught the light. It had what looked like tiny wings, but one wing hung at a strange angle. The creature was hurt. Knew the rules. Workers were not supposed to touch any alien creatures without calling security first. The spaceport had strict rules about this. Alien diseases could be dangerous. Some creatures could be violent, but this creature looked like it was dying. The creature made the chirping sound again. It sounded sad and weak. Looked around. No one was watching. The spaceport was quiet today. Most of the alien ships had left yesterday in a hurry. He did not know why they left so fast. He reached into the container slowly. The creature tried to move away, but it was too weak. Spoke softly. "It's okay, I want to help you." The creature's big eyes watched him. Could see intelligence in those eyes. This was not just an animal. This creature was smart. Carefully lifted the creature out of the trash. It was lighter than he expected, and he could feel how thin it was under its strange, shimmering skin. The creature's body was warm, and it smelled like rain and flowers. "You're just a baby, aren't you?" said. The creature made a soft sound that almost sounded like agreement. Looked at the creature's hurt wing. He was not a doctor, but it looked broken. The creature needed help soon, or it might die. Made a decision. He took off his work jacket and wrapped the creature gently inside it. The creature did not fight him. It seemed to understand that wanted to help. "I'm taking you home," said. "I'll figure out what to do later." Walked quickly to his old car in the parking lot. He put the creature on the passenger seat and drove to his small apartment on the edge of the colony. His apartment was not much, but it was quiet and safe. Inside his apartment, set the creature down on his couch. It looked around with its big eyes, taking in everything. Went to his kitchen and got a bowl of water and some leftover chicken from his dinner. The creature drank the water quickly. It was very thirsty. When offered the chicken, the creature sniffed it carefully, then ate small bites. It seemed to like the food. "What are you?" asked again. "Where did you come from?" The creature tilted its head when spoke. It made a small sound that sounded almost like it was trying to copy his voice. Found an old blanket and made a soft bed for the creature in the corner of his living room. The creature crawled onto the blanket and curled up. It looked at with grateful eyes before closing them to sleep. Sat in his chair and watched the creature sleep. Its skin slowly changed colors as it breathed, shifting from silver to blue to green. It was beautiful and strange. Knew he was breaking many rules. If the spaceport security found out, he could lose his job. If the colony government found out, he could go to jail. Contact with unknown alien species was illegal without proper permission, but could not leave the creature to die in the trash. As the evening grew dark, tried to research alien species on his computer. He looked through all the databases he could access. He found information about many different alien races that visited the spaceport, but none of them looked like the creature sleeping in his living room. This worried. If the creature's species was not in the databases, where did it come from? Were there others looking for it? Made another bowl of water and left it near the creature's blanket. He also left more food. Then he went to bed, but he did not sleep well. He kept thinking about the creature and wondering if he had made the right choice. In the middle of the night, heard soft sounds from the living room. He got up and found the creature awake, looking out the window at the stars. When it saw, it made a gentle chirping sound. "Can't sleep either?" asked. The creature looked at him with its intelligent eyes, felt like it understood his words, even if it could not speak them back. Sat down next to the creature. They looked out the window together at the night sky, full of stars and the lights of passing ships, wondered which star was the creature's home. "Don't worry," said softly. "Tomorrow we'll figure out how to help you." The creature made a soft sound and moved closer too. For the first time since he found it, the creature seemed peaceful. Did not know that tomorrow would change everything. He did not know that his simple act of kindness would bring visitors from the stars. He only knew that he could not let a suffering creature die alone in the trash. Sometimes the smallest choices have the biggest results. Woke up early the next morning to soft chirping sounds. He found the creature sitting by its water bowl, looking much better than the night before. Its skin was brighter, and it held its head up with more strength. "Good morning," little one said. "How are you feeling?" The creature tilted its head and made a sound that almost sounded like mourning, stopped and stared. "Did you just try to say that?" he asked. The creature looked at him with its large eyes and made the sound again. This time it was clearer, mourning. Felt amazed. The creature was copying his words, but it was more than just copying sounds. The creature seemed to understand what the word meant. When to make breakfast. He cooked eggs and toast for himself and cut up some fruit for the creature. When he came back, he found something surprising. The creature had organized its messy coffee table. All the old papers were stacked neatly. The remote controls were lined up in order of size. Even the old magazines were arranged by color. "You did this?" asked. The creature made a proud chirping sound. It seemed happy with its work. Sat down and shared his breakfast with the creature. It liked the fruit very much, especially the sweet apple pieces. While they ate, tried teaching it more words. "Apple," said, holding up a piece of fruit. The creature repeated. "Water," said, pointing to the bowl. "Water," the creature said. The creature learned very fast. By the time finished breakfast, it could say 10 simple words, but more than that, it seemed to understand what the words meant. When said water, the creature would look at its bowl. When he said food, it would look at the fruit. Realized this creature was very intelligent, more intelligent than any animal he had ever seen. This creature could think and learn like a person. "I need to give you a name," said. "What should I call you?" The creature made its soft chirping sound. "Pip, Pip, Pip." Pip smiled. "I like that. Is that your name, Pip?" Pip chirped happily and seemed to understand that this was now his name. Had to go to work, but he worried about leaving Pip alone. He made sure there was plenty of food and water. He also left some of his books and magazines for Pip to look at. "I'll be back this evening," told Pip. "Stay safe." Pip made a sad sound, but seemed to understand. At work, could not concentrate. He kept thinking about Pip. He also noticed something strange. The spaceport was very quiet. Usually there were several alien ships every day, but today there were none. Asked his supervisor, Director Sarah, about the empty spaceport. "Strange week," Director said. "We had 6 different alien ships leave yesterday, all at the same time. They seemed in a hurry, didn't even finish their usual business." This made worry. What if Pip's family had been on one of those ships? What if they left without knowing Pip was still here? Tried to work, but his mind kept thinking about Pip being alone and lost. He decided to go home early. When got home, he found another surprise. Pip had not just been sitting around all day. The creature had completely reorganized the entire apartment. Olive's books were arranged in perfect order on the shelves. His clothes were folded and sorted by color in his closet. Even his kitchen was cleaner than it had ever been. But the most amazing thing was what Pip had done with old electronics. Liked to fix broken machines in his free time. His workshop corner was always full of old computer parts, broken radios, and electronic pieces. Now all these parts were arranged in beautiful patterns on his workbench. It looked like art, but could see that the patterns made sense. Similar parts were grouped together. The arrangements showed how the parts could work together. "Pip, did you understand how these machines work?" asked. Pip chirped proudly and pointed to different parts. Then Pip did something amazing. He started connecting some of the parts together. In a few minutes, Pip had built a small device that made musical sounds when touched. Was amazed. Pip did not just organize things. Pip understood how things worked. Pip could create new things. That evening, Pip spent time learning to communicate better. Pip learned more words and learned to understand Pip's different sounds. Pip had different chirps for happy, sad, excited, and curious. Also learned that Pip was very good at understanding feelings. When felt stressed about work, Pip would make gentle sounds and bring things that made him feel better. When was happy, Pip would bounce around and make excited sounds. "You're not just smart," Pip said. "You understand feelings too." Pip looked at with his intelligent eyes and made a sound that seemed like agreement. As they sat together that evening, tried to learn more about Pip's past. He drew simple pictures and pointed to the sky. "Where is your family, Pip?" asked. Pip looked sad. He pointed to the sky and made soft, lonely sounds. Then Pip drew pictures with his finger on the table. The pictures showed many creatures like himself, then showed them flying away in something that looked like a ship. His heart broke for the little creature. Pip was lost and alone, far from his family. "Don't worry," Pip said, "we'll find them." But was starting to worry. If Pip's family was not in any database, where did they come from? And why did all the alien ships leave so suddenly yesterday? That night lay in bed thinking about everything. Pip was much more than just an intelligent creature. Pip seemed to have emotions and creativity and problem-solving skills just like humans. But Pip was also something new, something had never seen before. Was beginning to understand that he was not just caring for a lost animal, he was caring for someone. Pip was a person, just in a different form. But this made the situation much more complicated. Taking care of a lost animal was one thing, but hiding an intelligent alien person was much more serious. Did not know what to do. All he knew was that he could not abandon Pip. The little creature trusted him now, had become Pip's only family. As fell asleep, he hoped that tomorrow would bring some answers. He did not know that tomorrow would bring much more than answers. Tomorrow would bring Pip's family, and they were much more powerful than could imagine. Woke up to darkness. Something was blocking the sunlight from his bedroom window. He looked at his clock. It was morning, but the room was as dark as night. He got out of bed and walked to the window. What he saw made him freeze with fear. Huge shapes floated in the sky above the colony. They were not clouds. They were ships. 3 enormous alien ships hung in the air like floating cities. Each ship was bigger than any building had ever seen. They were beautiful and frightening at the same time. The ships had smooth, curved surfaces that seemed to glow with their own light. They looked almost alive, like giant sea creatures floating in the air instead of water. Most amazing of all, their surface had the same shimmering quality as Pip's skin. Ran to the living room where Pip was just waking up. When Pip saw his worried face, the little creature became alert quickly. "Pip, look outside," said. Pip looked out the window and immediately became very excited. He started making loud chirping sounds and jumping up and down. Then Pip ran to the window and pressed his face against the glass, staring up at the ships. communication device on the kitchen counter started beeping loudly. The emergency alert system was active. Turned it on and heard director's voice. All colony residents, this is an emergency announcement. 3 unidentified alien vessels have appeared over New Singapore colony. All residents must stay indoors. Do not attempt to make contact with these vessels. Colony security is working to understand their intentions. Felt his heart racing. These ships had to be connected to Pip. The timing was too perfect to be coincidence. The communication device beeped again. This time it was a different voice, speaking in broken human language with a strange accent. People of this place, we search for our young one. Our family member is lost in your area. We give you 1 day to return our child. If our young one is not returned, we will take action. The voice stopped. Then it spoke again in a language that sounded like musical tones and whistles. Could not understand the alien language, but Pip could. Pip became very excited when he heard the alien voice. He started making responding calls toward the ceiling, as if trying to call back to the ships. Realized that Pip was trying to communicate with his family. But also realized something terrible. The alien voice did not sound friendly. It sounded angry and worried. The words "take action" scared very much. His communication device beeped with another message from director. All colony employees report to emergency stations immediately. This is not a drill. Looked at Pip, who was still making excited sounds at the window. The little creature did not understand the danger they were both in. If brought Pip forward now, what would happen? Would Pip's family be grateful? Or would they be angry that a human had taken their child? Had heard stories about some alien species that considered any contact with their young to be an attack. But if did not bring Pip forward, the whole colony could be in danger. The ships looked very powerful. If they decided to take action, thousands of innocent people could be hurt. His communication device rang. It was director calling him directly. I need you at the spaceport immediately. We're setting up emergency protocols. I might be sick today, said. No one is sick today. This is an emergency. Get here now. Hung up, he looked at Pip, who was looking back at him with trusting eyes. Tried to think clearly. He needed more information. He turned on his computer and searched for any news about the ships. The colony's communication network was full of panicked messages. Scientists were trying to scan the ships, but their equipment could not get through the ship's energy shields. The ship's technology was far beyond anything humans had ever seen. Military experts were discussing the ship's weapons. They could not identify any obvious weapons, but ships that large could cause terrible damage just by moving or landing in the wrong place. Government officials were trying to communicate with the ships, but they were only getting the same message repeated over and over. Return our young one. Read more reports and learned something important. The alien ships had appeared exactly 12 hours after all the other alien visitors had left the spaceport. This meant that other alien species knew something was coming. They had left to avoid getting involved in whatever was about to happen. Realized that Pip's people were probably very powerful if other alien species were afraid of them. Pip seemed to sense worry. The little creature came over and made gentle, comforting sounds. Pip had learned that these sounds made feel better. Pip said carefully, "Those ships up there, are they your family?" Pip chirped excitedly and nodded. He pointed to the sky and then to himself. "Do you want to go to them?" asked. Pip looked confused. He pointed to the ships, then to himself. He seemed to be asking if they would all go together. Felt his heart break. Pip did not want to choose between his old family and his new friend. The little creature wanted everyone to be together, but knew it would not be that simple. His communication device beeped with an update from colony security. Scientists had detected that the alien ships were scanning the entire colony. They were looking for something specific. The scans were not harmful, but they were very thorough. Realized that Pip's family was searching for him systematically. They would find Pip eventually, could not hide him forever. But was also realizing something else from the news reports. The alien message said, "Return our young one." It did not say, "We will take our young one," or "Give us our young one." They were asking for Pip to be returned, not demanding that he be taken. Maybe Pip's family was not angry. Maybe they were just desperate and worried. Thought about how he would feel if Pip was his child and Pip was lost on an alien world. Would probably do anything to get Pip back, even if it scared the aliens. Made a decision. He could not keep hiding, but he also could not just hand Pip over without knowing what would happen. Needed to contact the colony government and tell them about Pip, but he needed to do it in a way that would protect both Pip and himself. Looked at Pip, who was still watching the ships with excitement and hope. Pip said, "I think it's time to go home, but we need to do this carefully." Pip looked at with his intelligent eyes. The little creature seemed to understand that something important was about to happen. Outside, the three massive ships continued to float silently above the colony, waiting for an answer. Time was running out, and knew that tomorrow would change everything for both him and Pip. Had 24 hours to figure out how to reunite a lost child with his family, without starting an interstellar war. Spent the morning watching news reports about the alien ships. The whole colony was in panic. Some people wanted to fight the aliens. Others wanted to give them whatever they wanted. Everyone was scared. But was learning something different from the reports. Military experts had been studying the ships all night. They made a surprising discovery. The ships had powerful weapons, but the weapons were not pointed at the colony. They were pointed outward, toward space. The alien ships appear to be in a defensive position, one military expert said on the news. They seem to be protecting themselves from some outside threat, not preparing to attack us. This made think, maybe Pip's family was not trying to threaten the colony. Maybe they were afraid of something else. Decided to try communicating with Pip about his family. He sat down with Pip and started drawing simple pictures. First, drew pictures of the ships in the sky. Pip got excited and pointed to them. Then drew a picture of many creatures like Pip. Pip nodded and made happy sounds. Drew the creatures in ships flying through space. Pip watched carefully. Then drew something else. He drew the ships flying away from something dark and scary. Pip became very quiet when he saw this picture. Pip took his pen and started drawing his own pictures. What Pip drew made his heart hurt. Pip drew a beautiful planet with many creatures like himself. Then Pip drew dark ships attacking the planet. Pip drew explosions and fire. Finally, Pip drew the few surviving ships flying away into space. "Your home was destroyed?" asked gently. Pip made a very sad sound and nodded. Then Pip drew more pictures. He showed the surviving ships flying from place to place, looking for somewhere safe to land. But every time they approached a planet, they were chased away by other ships. Was beginning to understand. Pip's people were not conquerors. They were refugees. They had lost their home and were looking for a new place to live. But why were they being chased away from other planets? Pip drew another picture. This one showed his people's ships meeting other alien ships, but the other aliens flew away quickly when they saw Pip's people. Thought about what had happened at the spaceport. All the alien visitors had left suddenly just before Pip's family arrived. They knew Pip's people were coming, and they left to avoid them. "Are other aliens afraid of your people?" asked. Pip nodded sadly. Then Pip drew a picture that explained everything. Pip drew his people's ships next to other ships. Pip's people's ships were much bigger and more advanced. Other aliens were afraid because Pip's people had such powerful technology. Understood now. Pip's people had advanced weapons and technology because they needed to protect themselves. But this made other species afraid of them. When you have lost everything and everyone is afraid of you, finding a new home becomes impossible. Pip's family was not here to threaten the colony. They were desperate parents looking for their lost child, and they were probably running out of options for places to search. Felt terrible for keeping Pip hidden, but he also felt scared about what would happen when he revealed the truth. His communication device rang. It was Director again. "Where are you? We need all hands at the spaceport. These aliens are getting impatient." "What do you mean?" asked. "They've sent 3 more messages in the last hour. Each message sounds more urgent. I think they're getting desperate. Desperate aliens with powerful weapons make everyone nervous." Hung up and looked at Pip. The little creature was drawing another picture. This one showed a creature like Pip being held by a human figure that looked like. Around them, both alien ships and human buildings were drawn in peaceful, bright colors. "You think we can all be friends?" asked. Pip nodded enthusiastically. He pointed then to himself, then to the ships outside. Pip believed that his family would like because had been kind to him, but was not so sure. Different species had different ideas about family and protection. What if Pip's people thought had kidnapped their child? What if they wanted to punish for taking Pip? Spent the afternoon trying to decide what to do. Every hour, the colony received more urgent messages from the alien ships. The aliens' translator was getting better at human language, and their messages were becoming clearer. "Our child has been missing for 2 days. We detect his life signs on your world, but we cannot locate him precisely. Please help us find our young one. We mean no harm to your people. We are refugees seeking only the return of our family member. Our young one is all we have left. Please understand our urgency. Time grows short. Our enemies track us across the galaxy. We must find our child and leave before they arrive. Please help us." This last message made very worried. Pip's family was being hunted by enemies. They needed to find Pip and leave quickly, or everyone might be in danger. Made his decision. He could not keep hiding Pip. It was not fair to Pip, who missed his family. It was not fair to Pip's family, who were desperate to find their child. And it was not fair to the colony, who were in danger as long as this situation continued. But also could not just walk up to the spaceport and hand Pip over to colony security. He needed to be smarter about this. Called Director. "Sarah, I need to tell you something important about the alien situation," said. "What kind of something?" Director asked. "The kind of something that needs to be handled very carefully. Can you meet me at the spaceport in 1 hour? And Sarah, bring the colonies and translator teams." "You're making me nervous. What do you know?" "I know where their missing child is," said. "And I know why this situation is much more complicated than anyone realizes." Hung up before Director could ask more questions. Looked at Pip, who had been listening to the conversation. "Pip, we're going to find your family," said, "but I need you to help me. Your people and my people need to understand each other. Can you help with that?" Pip chirped bravely and nodded. He seemed to understand that something important was about to happen. Packed some of Pip's favorite foods and the blanket Pip liked to sleep with. He wanted Pip to be comfortable during what might be a long and stressful day. As they prepared to leave, looked out the window at the huge alien ships floating above the colony. Soon, he would meet Pip's family face to face. He hoped that Pip was right about them all becoming friends, but was also afraid. He was about to bet his life, Pip's life, and possibly the safety of the entire colony on the hope that kindness could bridge the gap between species. Picked up Pip and held him gently. "Ready to go home?" he asked. Pip looked up with trust and affection. Then Pip looked toward the window, toward his family's ships. For the first time since found him, Pip looked truly hopeful. They left the apartment together, not knowing if they were walking toward a joyful reunion or a dangerous mistake. Arrived at the spaceport with Pip hidden in his jacket. Director was waiting with a team of scientists, security officers, and government officials. Everyone looked stressed and worried. "What do you know about these aliens?" Director asked immediately. Took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything. "I know where their child is," said, "because I've been taking care of him." Opened his jacket and lifted Pip out carefully. The little creature looked around at all the humans with curious but nervous eyes. The entire group of officials stepped back in shock. Several security officers reached for their weapons. "Put your weapons down," Director said firmly. "Let explain." Told them everything. He explained how he found Pip in the trash, how he cared for him, and what he had learned about Pip's intelligence and his people's situation. "They're refugees," said. "Their planet was destroyed. They're not here to hurt us. They just want their child back." Dr. Sarah, the colonies, stepped forward to examine Pip. She was amazed by what she saw. "This creature shows signs of advanced intelligence," Doctor said. "Look at how it responds to conversations. It understands what we're saying." Pip looked at Doctor and said clearly, "Hello, I am Pip." Everyone stared in amazement. Doctor nearly dropped her tablet. "How long has it been able to speak?" she asked. "He learned in just 2 days," said. "He's incredibly smart." Colonel Martinez, the head of colony security, was not impressed by Pip's intelligence. He was angry at. "You've been hiding an alien creature for 2 days during a crisis situation," Colonel Martinez said. "Do you understand how serious this is? You could have caused an interstellar war." "I prevented one," said firmly. "If Pip had died in the trash, his family would never have forgiven us. Now we have a chance to make friends instead of enemies." Director looked at the alien ships floating above them through the spaceport windows. She was thinking carefully. "Is right," she said finally. "This gives us an opportunity, but we need to handle this very carefully." Doctor was still studying Pip. "This creature's emotional responses are very similar to a human child," she said. "He's clearly bonded with. Look how he stays close to him." Pip was indeed staying very close too. The little creature seemed nervous around so many new people. "The question is," Director said, "how do we return this child to his family without making them think we kidnapped him?" "We let Pip help," said. "He can communicate with his family. He can explain what happened." Colonel Martinez shook his head. "Too risky. What if they don't believe the creature? What if they think we hurt him or trained him to lie?" Looked down at Pip. The little creature looked back at him with trusting eyes. "There's only one way to prove we meant no harm," said. "I'll go with Pip to meet his family." Everyone started talking at once. Colonel Martinez thought this was a terrible idea. Doctor worried about the risks too. The government officials worried about diplomatic problems. Director raised her hand for silence. "If you're willing to do this, it could work. But are you sure? We don't know how these aliens will react to seeing their child with a human." "Pip trusts me," said. "And I trust him. If his family is anything like him, they'll understand." His communication device beeped with another message from the alien ships. This time, the voice sounded even more urgent. "Time grows very short. Our enemies approach this system. We must find our young one and leave immediately. If you cannot help us, we will begin surface scans that may damage your technology." "They're running out of time," said. "We need to act now." Director made the decision. "We'll try its way, but we'll do it here at the spaceport with full diplomatic protocols. If something goes wrong, we'll be ready." The spaceport team prepared quickly. They cleared the main landing pad and set up communication equipment. Doctor prepared translation devices. Colonel Martinez positioned security teams around the area, though insisted they stay hidden. Carried Pip to the center of the landing pad. The little creature was excited to see his family, but also nervous about leaving. "It's okay," Pip said. "Your family loves you, and maybe they'll let us stay friends." Pip chirped bravely and pointed to the sky. Director activated the communication system. Alien vessels, this is New Singapore Colony Control. We have located your young one. He is safe and unharmed. We request permission to arrange a reunion. The response came immediately. You have our child, prove this claim. Took the microphone. My name is, I found your child 2 days ago. He was hurt and hungry. I've been caring for him. He's safe and happy. Let us hear our young one's voice, the alien voice demanded. Held the microphone near Pip. The little creature began making the musical tones of his native language. He spoke for several minutes, clearly explaining what had happened to him. The response from the ships was immediate and emotional. Multiple voices began speaking in the alien language, all talking at once. They sounded relieved and grateful. One of the alien ships began descending toward the landing pad. As it got closer, could see how beautiful it was. The ship looked like it was made of living crystal that changed colors as it moved. The ship landed gently on the pad. A doorway opened in its side, and 3 figures stepped out. Had expected Pip's family to be larger versions of Pip, but he was not prepared for how magnificent they were. The adult aliens were tall and graceful, with skin that sparkled like jewels in the sunlight. Their wings were not broken like Pip's, and they spread wide and beautiful behind them. The largest alien stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice was like music. Which human cared for our child? The alien asked through the translation device. Stepped forward, still carrying Pip. I did, my name is. Pip jumped down from his arms and ran toward his family, chirping excitedly. The large alien, clearly Pip's parent, knelt down and gathered Pip in a gentle embrace. The other 2 aliens surrounded them both, creating a family group that radiated love and relief. Felt happy seeing Pip reunited with his family, but he also felt sad. He was going to miss the little creature. Pip's parent stood up and walked toward, was nervous, but he held his ground. The alien stopped in front of and did something unexpected. It bowed deeply. Human, the alien said, you have given us the greatest gift possible. You saved our child's life and cared for him with love. In our culture, one who protects another's young is honored above all others. I just did what anyone would do, said. No, the alien said. We have visited many worlds. Most species would have reported finding our child to their authorities immediately. Some would have been afraid. Others would have tried to use our child as a bargaining tool. You simply cared for him because he needed care. This is rare in the galaxy. Pip ran back to and hugged his leg. The little creature looked up with affectionate eyes, then looked at his parent. Pip began speaking in his own language, gesturing between and his family. Could not understand the words, but he could see that Pip was excited about something. Pip's parent listened carefully, then looked with new interest. Our child tells us remarkable things about you. He says you have a talent for understanding and fixing broken things. He says you made him feel safe when he was lost and afraid. He says you would make a good bridge between our peoples. A bridge? Asked. Our people have been alone for too long, the alien explained. We are powerful, but power without friendship is a cold thing. Our child believes your species might be different from the others we have met. He believes humans and could learn from each other. Looked at Pip, who was nodding enthusiastically. Director stepped forward. We would be honored to learn more about your people and your culture. Pip's parent considered this carefully. Our enemies still hunt us, and we cannot stay long in any one place. But perhaps we could establish a friendship between our peoples. Our child could serve as a translator and teacher if he wishes to spend time in both worlds. Pip chirped excitedly and ran back and forth between and his family. It was clear what the little creature wanted. Pip wants to be our ambassador, said smiling. If you are willing to accept this responsibility, Pip's parent said too, we would be grateful. Our child trusts you and we trust his judgment. Felt overwhelmed by the honor being offered to him. A few days ago, he had been just a waste management engineer. Now he was being asked to help build a friendship between species. "I would be honored," said. Pip made happy sounds and hugged both and his parent. 6 months later, stood in his new office at the New Singapore Colony Diplomatic Center. Outside his window, he could see a small ship docked at the spaceport. Pip was visiting for the week, teaching a group of human students about science and culture. The friendship between humans had grown strong. They had shared some of their technology to help improve life in the colony. In return, humans had offered something they valued even more: acceptance and friendship. Other alien species had noticed the friendship between humans, and some had begun to approach the colony, curious about these humans who befriended refugees instead of turning them away. Often thought about the day he found Pip in the trash. Such a small decision to help a creature in need had changed the course of both their species' futures. Pip bounded into his office, carrying a new device he had invented. "Look," Pip said in perfect English, "I made a translator that works with music too." Smiled at his young friend. Pip had grown larger over the past months, but he was still the same curious, intelligent, loving creature had found that day. "That's amazing," Pip said. "What should we test it on?" "The whale songs," Pip said excitedly. "I want to know what Earth whales are saying." Laughed. With Pip around, there was always something new to discover, something new to fix, something new to understand. Sometimes the universe brought you exactly what you needed when you decided to help someone else. Had saved Pip from the trash, but in doing so, he had discovered something wonderful about both their species. Kindness, it turned out, was the most powerful technology of all.